Thank you. I guess that's a self-limiting belief, isn't it? Thinking that because I'm an expert, I don't know stuff. But it's true. Today is Retweet Friday. Do you know what Retweet Friday is? If you're a Twitter user, Retweet Friday, you're supposed to retweet, that is, repeat whatever anybody else tweeted. And it sort of morphs and changes into a networking thing where you're supposed to mention as many people as you can on Twitter, Twitter being one of the modes of social media. How was your week? It's a question that gets asked on Retweet Friday on Twitter. And typically, it goes like this. How was your week? 220 retweets, 70 favourites, 45 mentions, total reach, 3 million. Now, how was your week? That's like, I can tell you my week isn't defined by the number of retweets I got on Twitter or the number of mentions I got. My week is defined by the fact that I went out to the pub for lunch with a group of new colleagues I'm working with in Bristol, that my daughter went into hospital and had a successful operation, that my grandchildren asked me to read them a bedtime story, that I met some friends that I meet regularly for a run on a Saturday. My week was defined by people and by the social side of it. The problem is, you see, that social media are these incredibly powerful transformational tools, and they allow us to do something called communication, which is a human thing. I mean, I study the mathematics of it, but it's a human topic. The psychology of it, what it actually means, is more important than the methods of transmitting the information. Unfortunately, the tools get taken over because they become tools of something called networking, which is connecting with as many people as I possibly can, for some purpose, or maybe for no purpose at all. And they turn, like Facebook and Twitter, into a sort of popularity contest. Well, not for me, partly because I'm not actually very popular, so I certainly wouldn't win such a contest. It gets worse than that, though, because these tools, which are actually really incredible, powerful agents of communication between people, become taken over by the media, by advertising, and by companies. You can promote yourself on Twitter. You can go to a seminar that teaches you how to use Twitter to get your message out there. That's not social communication. Yeah? Social communication isn't me going up and bellowing at you, I like Adidas. I mean, Adidas actually like me. They love me. They tell me so on Facebook over and over again. And I'm pretty sure they probably do care, because I actually always wear Adidas running shoes because they happen to fit me. But I don't really believe that I've got any genuine social interaction with them. But they're trying to build it, as are many companies, by setting up, by using hundreds of people who are there to become your friend. You know, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend, really, genuinely. Sorry. Yeah, I'm working, you know. It's 5 o'clock, I'm gone now. These things, you can even do what's called buffering it. You can set up a whole train of communication, an apparent conversation with your audience. Tragically, the Virgin spaceship crashed. Before that, one of the sponsors of that spaceship had set up an entire conversation, all the stuff about, gee, that was amazing, that was really cool, did you see that? It was all there, yeah? It's buffered, timed to come out. The communication, the conversation is already stored, ready to be transmitted. When the spaceship crashed and the tragedy occurred, they had to go to enormous lengths to pull all that back before they had the embarrassing experience of saying, that was really cool, wasn't it? Isn't that amazing? Yeah? Now, that's really tragic, because they've taken away from us the whole point of these modes of communication. They can work for us. I lead a small running group in my village, which is St. John's. We meet every second Saturday. Used to be at 10 o'clock. And these are people I'd never met before. They're people who came because there was a running group, and we've joined up with them. And we keep in touch via Facebook. And Facebook gives us this powerful but simple opportunity. Someone can say on a Wednesday, you know, is anyone up for a run on Thursday? And other people will say, yeah, I am. You know, we'll agree the time. It's a really useful means of communicating like that. On a Friday, someone can say, I can't make the 10 o'clock run. Why don't we go at 10:30? And people can communicate and talk in that way. And that's a social interaction on this, what I call a microlocal level. How many people do you think there are in my running group? It's really successful, actually. There's about 45. How many people do you think actually turn up? About 4 or 6. Well, that's social media. An awful lot of more people apologise for not turning up than actually do turn up normally. But social media allows them to do that. But the thing is that the social media allows that group to interact. The only thing we do is we meet each other on a Saturday, and we go for a run, and then we have a cup of coffee, and we have a bit of a chinwag. And those people have become fast friends. We're all in the same village. We didn't know each other before. We knew each other, and now we use that kind of medium to keep in touch. I go to an event. It's called Live Action Roleplay, and my son, who's sitting at the back, is responsible for me doing this. You don't want to know too much about live action roleplay, but it's like a festival where 2,000 people go for a weekend, usually camping in mud, and we dress up as heroes or monsters or warriors or wizards, and we rush around pretending to be these characters. My character, if you're interested, is some kind of, pathetic desert warrior channeling Lawrence of Arabia. And I sort of wander around with very inventive, but actually deliberately totally crass works of modern art, trying to convince people in their characters, like you're an orc, obviously a person of refinement, to pay me the pretend money for these artworks. I have a ball. I mean, actually my character is just me, as I would be if I were free. But I only meet these people 4 times a year at these events. And there's about, 20 or 30 of them who I'd consider to be genuine friends, but I generally don't see them without their orc masks on. Except that we communicate really regularly through Facebook. So I know what they're doing, I know the problems they've got. When we meet up, before they put the orc mask on, we maybe have a little bit of a talk about it. Sometimes even you're walking along with an orc saying, well, actually, the match last Saturday wasn't too good, was it? And it's quite nice. But it enables that interaction to be continued, but it's a genuine social interaction. Yeah? And I've organised various sorts of community events, like, playing cricket on St John's Lye on a regular basis. Anyone up for a cricket match? It's really good for doing that. It doesn't work sometimes, and I don't really understand why it doesn't, and I don't have an answer to it, but I have a sort of a suggestion as to what we should perhaps do. One group works because there's a genuine core that was created of real people. Social interaction isn't me shouting at you, "Run group Saturday!" Yeah? It's me saying, "You're up for a run on Saturday?" Yeah? And you saying, "No," or "yes," or whatever. Yeah? It's a conversation. It's back and forth. Social media allow us to do that, but on a sort of mass scale so that quite a lot of us can communicate with it. But sometimes it doesn't work. The cricket didn't work because really everybody was waiting for me to say, "Come on, let's have a cricket match." And I'm not up for that. I'm just in for, I'd come along if somebody else did it, or maybe I'll come along if everybody's interested in it. My best tweet, or series of tweets ever, was about something called the St John's life-sized banana flash mob, and that's dead relevant to the WWF, because it was a fair trade banana. And I saw on Twitter that a life-sized banana would appear at the coffee shop in St John's at a particular time and date, and would then walk down the canal to the WWF, where you would make the largest banana split in the world. So, of course, I immediately thought, brilliant opportunity for a flash mob. A flash mob being organised by social media. A lot of people turn up in a certain place and do something, preferably something stupid, that just happens. Life-size banana flash mob. Question, how big is a life-size banana? So I was able to establish a life-size banana is actually a man-sized banana, and this man-sized banana would turn up. And so I organised the life-size banana flash mob. And it took off. I was retweeted everywhere. I was really excited. If you'd asked me how my week was that week, I would say, 120 retweets. That's amazing. Yeah? Do you want to know what the St John's life-size banana flash mob looks like in practice? Retweeted everywhere. People favouriting it, getting re-mentioned all over the place. Yeah? You're looking at the life-size banana flash mob. Actually, I'm half of it. My wife at the back there, she was also part of the life-size banana flash mob. The life-size banana didn't turn up to the life-size banana flash mob. We had to We had to go into the coffee shop and we stole their big inflatable banana and we carried it down the canal and we arrived down here. And I mean, the amazing thing about social media is that nobody knows that lifestyle, you are now the only people who know that it was a total failure. Because everybody thought it must have been the best life-size banana flash mob St. John's had ever seen. Because nobody turned up to see that it actually failed. But the problem that we're facing is this, that we have these tools that really allow me to talk to you and to you directly, to have a real conversation with each other. And it can be in all sorts of ways. It might be that I'm just exhorting you, get fit, go along on Saturday. Or it might be that we're actually talking and saying, well, I can't make this time, I can't make that time. Yeah? They give us the ability to do it, but something gets in the way. There was a project at Kingston University where I occasionally lecture. And the project was an undergraduate project. It was to study social media and the reasons why the tools for social media, mobile phone and Twitter, Facebook, all the methods we've got to communicate, to discover the reasons why people still failed to meet up. So I say, we'll meet at Woody's Wine Bar in Kingston at 7:30 on Saturday. Yeah? And you don't turn up. You have a phone. You've got a Twitter account, you've got Facebook, you've got all sorts of means of contacting me. We can be in touch. You can send me your GPS coordinates so I can see where you are. Yeah? So the thing is, why is it that people don't turn up? What could we do with this technology to help people to connect? And the answer is that the technology is fine. People are just pathetic, actually. Socially. Our social skills are we get something with RSVP written on the bottom of it, and we think, oh yeah, I've been that. You don't respond. You don't tell people. If I don't turn up at Woody's Wine Bar at 7:30, it's because I suddenly just decided I wouldn't, and I couldn't be bothered to tell you. But, if we used social media, imagine what would happen. For about a year and a half, I did a monthly newsletter in St. John's called What's On. Gathered information about all the things that are on, including the events I was organising, and I'd publish it. The local printer printed it free of charge, about 250 copies, and I had 3 volunteers who with me would go out and deliver these newsletters all around the village. Yeah? If all the people in St. John's, which is more than 1,000 people, not 250 people, if all of those people in St. John's had been on social media, I wouldn't have had to do any of that. There would have been no expense in printing the leaflets. None of the paper would have been wasted. We could have spent our time wandering around talking to people instead of pushing stuff through people's letterboxes. The power is there to allow us to connect, and it would be two-way, because they could say, well, I can't make 1:30, what about 2 o'clock? Yeah? All of us could have been engaged in a real effort, a real communication. We could have built a community. Now, we live in a world where we don't see our neighbours so much. I actually live on Hook Heath, although I consider myself part of St. John's because it's just across the railway bridge. Now, if I walk down through St. John's, I meet people, hello, how are you, and so on. Yeah. On Hook Heath, it happens differently. Yeah. 2 cars draw up alongside each other, the windows wind down, and we exchange a few words like that. Yeah. But we're not seeing our neighbours. We don't have those immediate means of talking to people. We have to find some other way of bringing these many disparate groups. My live-action role-play friends who are all around the country. Yeah? My run group who are all within a small central area but wouldn't otherwise have met. And we have the tools for doing that. It's called social media. But we are not using it. Because there are people who say, oh, I don't use that Twitter thing. Oh, excuse me. That's like saying, oh, I don't do that talking to people I meet thing. I don't do that meeting their eyes thing, That's really weird if you think about it. We need to tell people, get real, for goodness sake. It's only talking to people, isn't it? Yeah? And if we did that, if we take it back from the advertisers, from the companies who are drowning us in this deluge of not social interaction, they're shouting at us, they're broadcasting their advertising at us. We can just take that back by actually using the tools for what they're meant for, which is meeting real, genuine people, not fake people, then maybe we can just transform at a local level the way our communities actually work. Thank you.